Hello friends, welcome back to my channel. Now recently I did a video reviewing all of the opening tracks of Elton John's 30 solo studio albums. Today I'm going to be looking at the closing tracks. That's always a key moment of the album. What memories, what feelings does that album leave you with? A lot of it is dependent on that final track. So I think a lot of thought has gone into what track would close each album. So let's have a look at them. I'm going to rank them now from 30 up to my favourite number 1. So at number 30 and the bottom of my chart is going to be from Red Strikes Back, the closing song, Since God Invented Girls. Not a favourite track of mine, I'm afraid. I find it rather disjointed. I find it rather difficult to listen to. I don't think it's a particularly good lyric. And I don't really think it comes together as a song at all. I know one or two of you have liked this one when I reviewed it in the past, but for me, it's the least successful closing track. Now, number 29, we're going to Rock of the Westies for the distinctly underwhelming Billy Bones and the White Bird. Particularly irritating with the check it outs that seem to go on forever and ever. Rather difficult to listen to. Quite an uneven album, this one. Some good things on it, but not the closing track. Almost a skip over for me, that one. Number 28, I'm going to, sorry dog fans out there, but I'm going to Empty Sky for the triple blended track of Gulliver, Hey Jude and Reprise. Now, Gulliver is quite a popular song with a lot of you out there. It's about somebody who loses their pet dog, and it's quite an enchanting sort of little tale. Nice little melody from Elton on there, bit mystical in its setting. But of course, the track is kind of pulled down a little bit by the blending with the other two. Now, It's Hey Jude is actually not a bad instrumental at all, but it doesn't really fit with Gulliver. And Reprise is just a collection of excerpts from previous songs. That's my number 28. At 27, I'm going to Honky Chateau album, which of course is a fine album. I just think the closing track, Hercules, is a bit of a misfire. It's not one of my favourites. It's not one that I would listen to again from this album. It's okay. It's just nothing special, and there are better things on that album. And then at number 26, we're going to Too Low for Zero. Again, this is an album I like. One More Arrow, which closes it, is quite a good song, actually, but Elton sings it at a very high register. And I think it's one of those that maybe if he re-recorded this one at a lower register, it would be a much more powerful song. And number 25, we're going to The Diving Board, and it's the title track from this album. Not a bad album at all. Some enjoyable songs on this. I'm just not particularly grabbed by this closing track. I think it's perhaps a little bit over dramatic in a way, and it doesn't quite hit the mark. Number 24, I'm going to the Fox album. Again, it's an album I enjoy. I just think the closing track, The Fox, is okay, but nothing necessarily special and not as good as some of the other tracks on the album. At number 23, we're going to Leather Jackets for the closing track there, I Fall Apart. Again, not a bad song, on a kind of mixed album, this one, just not quite as strong as some of the others. It's a ballad, it's quite moving, maybe a little bit elaborate in its arrangement and production on there. Now, we couldn't keep it out, could we? But at number 22, we're going to A Victim of Love. Now, Victim of Love is the title track. It's the last song on a very controversial and disappointing album, as we know. Actually, Victim of Love is not a bad track at all. It's certainly the best of the bunch on here. It's maybe a little bit repetitive, but it's quite a good melody, quite a good performance by Elton on this, and it's a sort of thing that would get onto a greatest hits collection, I think. And at number 21, we're going to Peachtree Road for the closing track, I Can't Keep This From You. A little bit unmemorable, this one. Again, it's a good collection of songs, this one. It's a kind of rocky ballad, this one. Doesn't particularly stick in the memory. So perhaps a slight rejig of the tracks on here. And we could have had a song like Turn the lights out when you leave, that could have finished, or All the Time Aloud, which of course is a beautiful song. So number 20, we're going to Jump Up, and the closing track, All Quiet on the Western Front. This, of course, is a song about the trenches of the First World War. Pretty good ballad, actually, this one. I just find it a little bit over elaborate at the end, where the sort of drumming comes in, possibly to represent gunfire, explosions, that sort of thing. But quite a decent song, that one, and I enjoy listening to that one again. Number 19, we're going to The Captain and the Kid, Elton's second autobiographical collection of songs, and it's the title track, The Captain and the Kid, which Byrne is kind of looking back to their sort of creations from the Captain Fantastic album. Decent song, this one. I enjoy it. Lots of references to earlier songs in this one. Nice closer, this one. Then we're going to number 18, Blue Moves, and the closing track, Bite Your Lip, Get Up and Dance. A really exciting sort of funky disco type song from Elton. It's a pretty good one, actually. It goes on quite a long time, nearly 7 minutes, maybe a little bit over long, but they're clearly having fun on this one, and it's a good closer too. Fine double album, that one of my favourites. Number 17, we're going to the 21 at 33 album for Give Me the Love. Again, a kind of a disco feel to this one. A decent track, this one, quite an exciting one. I like Elton's voice on this album, and I like the arrangements. So that's pretty good. And then at number 16, I'm going to Wonderful Crazy Night, an album I enjoy a lot, and England and America. This again is looking at the kind of the experiences of Elton and Bernie, both here and in their sort of adopted second home of America. Nice hook on the refrain, this one. Good band performance, and I enjoy it a lot. At number 15, we're going to The Big Picture and the closing track, Wicked Dreams. Good rock song, this one. Good ballad, nice arrangement. Really uplifting, exciting track, that one. So good closer, that one. I enjoy it a lot. Number 14, we're going to Captain Fantastic, and I've considered the last two tracks together here. We've got We'll Fall in Love Sometimes, which is a sublime, beautiful love song. And it's joined on, and if you listen to it carefully, it is joined on to Curtains, which is perhaps a slightly less impressive song than Fall in Love Sometimes. And maybe was an attempt to do a kind of a Hey Jude, a long song with a long fade out. So together, that's a fine ending to the album. But I think just the We'll Fall in Love, just slightly better song than the Curtains. Now, at number 13, I'm going to Tumbleweed Connection, which, as you know, has scored highest amongst all my reviews. And the closing song, Burn Down the Mission. What a great song, that a slice of Americana. Brilliant lyric, brilliant performance. Got this wonderful, exciting piano break in the middle of it, and a really great song live. You may be thinking, well, why is this so low? Well, look at what's to come. Look at the quality of what's to come in this league table. Number 12, we're going to the Elton John album for The King Must Die. What a fantastic early closer for this one, written by Bernie, of course. Wonderful dramatic setting for Elton here. Really good, memorable melody. The whole thing is like one of these sort of story songs with a kind of thrilling ending to it. So great songwriting there. And at number 11, the quality keeps coming, Don't Shoot Me. I'm only the piano player, and the closing track, High Flying Bird. Again, another beautiful ballad that just sort of wanders its way through without rushing, without needing to rush, because it's just such a beautiful song for us to enjoy. So that's a great one to have at number 11. So now we get to the top 10, and my number 10 comes from the album Sleeping with the Past, and it's the beautiful song Blue Avenue. Quite an unusual song for Elton, this one. There's a little bit of mystery about it, a little bit of romance about it. It's a really engaging melody and an engaging lyric as well. Give that a listen if you haven't heard it before. It is an unusual song. I don't really call it a ballad. It's not a love song, it's not a rock song, but there's something about it, there's some sort of story about it that draws us in. At number 9, we're going to the Ice on Fire album for the closing track, Shoot Down the Moon. Now, as you know, there's a story attached to this because it was suggested this might be a possible Bond theme, and it would certainly work well as a Bond theme. It's a dramatic setting Elton's given to this, with some elements of sort of minor keys in there that kind of echoes that sort of Bond theme that sort of runs through all of the songs, all of the films. So again, try that one, see what you think. At number 8, we're going to the Single Man album for Song for Guy. Of course, perhaps Elton's most famous instrumental, along with Funeral for a Friend. It's a triumph of composition, actually, this one. It's very engaging. It's a melody that is familiar. It's easy to kind of sort of hum along to it. And it's a fine piece of music, very inventive instrumental. Now we get to number 7. We're going to the Breaking Hearts album, and we're going to Sad Songs Say So Much. Now, when I look back on this, I was surprised in a way that this was a closing track, because it doesn't feel like a closing track. This feels like a track you're going to meet maybe fourth on the first side, or maybe the opening track for the second side. So in a way, Elton doesn't end his albums very often on songs like this. But of course, this is a wonderful song, isn't it? Very easy, very engaging. Okay, the lyric, it doesn't tell much of a story, but it's all about reminiscing over love songs, the memories they sort of recount. It's a catchy song. It's a great live song as well, with kind of sort of bluesy feel to it. And then at number 6, we're going to one of my favourite albums, as you'll know, Madman Across the Water. I'm a huge fan of this album. Now, the closing track is the relatively short Goodbye. Perhaps not the greatest track on the album. It's got such quality on there, as we know. But I gave this another listen this week, and it is a beautiful song. It's very sad. It's very depressing in a way, you could say, but it's also a lovely lyric and a lovely tune, and Elton's voice is sounding fantastic on here. So that is my number 6. So we're down to the top 5 now. Now, number 5 in my top 30 closing tracks, we're going to the Made in England album for the sublime track Blessed. Now, this one is a beautiful lyric. It's all about the unborn child and the love you're going to have for this unborn child. You will be blessed when you are born. Elton's given it a lovely ballad setting for this. His voice sounds great on this. It's a real classy track, I think. Number 4, we're going to The One, and we're going to The Last Song. A fantastic ballad. Again, this is all about a story about a young man who is dying from AIDS, and he's reconciled with his father before he dies, and it's just beautiful, and it's so powerful. Great lyric as well. So excellent piece of work, that one. Now, number 3, we're going to Songs from the West Coast for the wonderful track This Train Don't Stop There Anymore. Elton's compared this to kind of a Burt Bacharach type of song, fantastic songwriter Burt Bacharach. This is just a great slice of late Elton pop, isn't it? It just works. It's so catchy, easy to sing along to. It's just so comfortable. Everything fits together. It's just like a perfect 3 or 4 minutes, that. Great song, and I really enjoy listening to that over and over again. So only 2 left. The question is, what is the order? Well, number 2, I'm going to Caribou album for the closing track, which is Ticking. Now, if you've ever heard this, you're going to remember it, because this is a dramatic story to start with. It's Bernie's lyric on a sort of high school shooting, a real sort of tragic incident. And Elton has given it this very stark and powerful composition. He just sits there at the piano and delivers this. Just a little bit of backing comes in later on. The whole thing is spine-tingling, really powerful and emotional. Wonderful vocal on this. It's just one of Elton's classiest recordings ever, I think. So number 1, well, once again, I'm going to Goodbye Yellow Brick Road for the wonderful closing track Harmony. Now, why have I picked this? I think it's because it's so unusual. Listen to the start of this track. And Elton starts it, he goes straight into the lyric, there's no introduction. He starts it with a discordant clash between what he's playing on the piano and what he's singing. It's a really unusual start, and you think, well, how can this possibly work? But it does, and it carries through into just a wonderful 3 minutes of classy pop. It's a lovely lyric. It's quite light in a way, and it's talking about harmony. Is this a person? Is this a reference to his love of music? We don't know. Elton carries it through with a brilliant melody that's so memorable, the voice sounds great, the piano sounds great, the whole era sounds great, doesn't it? I just think this is so classy, and I always enjoy listening to this. As you know, Goodbye Yellow Brick Road, the title track, is one of my favourite tracks ever for a similar sort of reason, because of its inventiveness and how unusual it is and how it works. So harmony for me, brilliant as well. Okay, well, I've had my say. What are your top 30 closing tracks in order? If you've got time, jot them down below. If you just want to send in your top 5, that's okay, or your bottom 5 as well. Let's get a bit of a debate going. I'll do another video just picking up on some of your suggestions. So thanks for watching. See you soon. Don't forget, we're still standing.